Hello there everyone, it is Toby from TIJ Music and welcome to a brand new video. Today it is time for a box set review, a review of the latest box set from 80s synthesizer band The Human League. I'm talking about the Essential Human League, brought out on the Spectrum label this year and priced just £5 in the UK. Now, some of you will know that have already watched my other video that I've done on the other Essential box set that I've bought. I've also bought a box set, the Thin Lizzy box set. Really big fan of Thin Lizzy. I have to say I'm more of a fan of Thin Lizzy than I am the Human League. And a lot of my videos on this channel about 70s, 80s hard rock. But at the same time, I do really enjoy the 80s stuff, particularly early 80s stuff. Apologies for the sun, by the way. It's a right pain, isn't it? But I really do like the early 80s stuff. Obviously, this band was huge in the early 80s in the UK. You've got Human League, Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet. The list goes on and on and on of bands in the early 80s who were really successful, particularly in that synth pop movement, new wave, new romantic, all that sort of era in the early 80s. And the Human League were absolutely there. But this is their first compilation since a very British synthesizer group released in 2016. That was 2 CDs with 30 tracks. There are 3 CDs here with 41 tracks. A little bit dubious, really, that the CDs only have 41 tracks, because CDs can hold 17 or 18 tracks. There could be potential to put a little bit more on these CDs. But a nice design, obviously the classic LP labels, if you like, of the old Virgin label. And quite nice as well that the 6 albums that do appear on this compilation do appear in the little CD sleeve. You've got the first 2 albums, Reproduction and Travelogue, which were really released as a free man piece, if you like, with Phil Oakey and the 2 guys, Martin Ware and Ian Craig Marsh, who of course went on then to form Heaven 17. And after that, we had this free piece which survives to today. Phil Oakey in the middle, and then on the right we've got Susan Ann Sully, and then on the left Joanne Caffarel. Just continue to show the CDs. They're pretty much the same as the first, just this one's got a green design. Try and straighten it up. I always do that to camera when I think it's supposed to go one way. I think, no, wrong way, like I'm doing there. Right, that's green, and we've got a nice black one as well. But what surprised me here is just the variety of tracks. Now, I'm not hugely into the Human League. I'm very much into their well-known stuff. The Dare album particularly, that was their best-selling album, I think. They're very much their best-known album, if you like, for everyone, really. And I was starting it up, and there's only 5 tracks from Dare on here. And I say only 5 because there's 4 tracks from Reproduction, 4 tracks from Travelogue, so that makes 8 tracks for their first 2 albums. There's 1 track from the Love and Dancing remix album, which I don't really consider to be an album because it has Hard Times, which is track 7 of CD1, but it's very much a remixed version. I much prefer the proper version, which was the original single. There's also 1 track from the Fascination EP, which is Mirror Man, but again, I really consider that to be a single. There's 4 tracks there from Hysteria, 5 tracks from Crash, and what surprised me the most, an album that I haven't heard anything from, but their 1990 album, Romantic, there are 7 tracks from that album. I was quite surprised, really, about that, and also there's 5 of them on there, but as I've said, really, to the most part, in terms of the known musicians, really, it's a free piece, much like on the fronts of Crash. So just to go through the tracks, from Reproduction, we've got The Path of Least Resistance, Blind Youth, Empire State Human, one of their first big singles, and Morale/cover of The Righteous Brothers, You've Lost That Loving Feeling. From Travelogue, Being Boiled, Only After Dark, Crow and a Baby, and WXJL Tonight. Dare, which is an album I'm very familiar with. Dreams, The Things That Dreams Are Made Of. These are the things that dreams are made of, even. Open Your Heart, Love Action, Don't You Want Me, Sound of the Crowd. Talked about the 2 dubious albums. Hysteria, I'm Coming Back, Louise, Le Lebanon, Life of Your Own. From Crash, Human, another very big single. Are You Ever Coming Back, I Need Your Loving, Love on the Run, Love Is All That Matters. And then from the Romantic album, which surprised me, there's 7 tracks, really. There's 7 tracks on this album on the compilation. Kiss the Future, Heart Like a Wheel, Men Are Dreamers, Soundtrack to a Generation, Rebound, The Stars Are Going Out, and Let's Get Together. Again, and just to show you the track listing from the album. Again, I was talking a little bit earlier how there's only 41 tracks, and there's 10 more tracks on this on the Thin Lizzy one. There's 17 tracks on each CD, but on the first CD here, there's just 12 tracks, 14 tracks on CD2, and 15 tracks on CD3. There's also a few extra tracks that I haven't mentioned. We've got the single from Phil Oakey and Giorgio Moroder from 1986, Together in Electric Dreams. Again, that's a classic. Should be on here, even though it is a Phil Oakey solo effort. I Don't Depend on You by The Men. It was a late 70s track, actually, I Don't Depend on You. Released under a pseudonym of The Men. This was very much in the early period where they were releasing those first few albums, and Virgin Records didn't think they were selling that much. They weren't profitable, so they wanted Human League to dispose of that whole we're not playing traditional instruments vibe, and they did. They went along with it, but they said, look, if we're going to do that, we're going to go under a new pseudonym, and I Don't Depend on You was the only song where they used the pseudonym The Men. A few other tracks on here, a few other singles. You've got Boys and Girls Somewhere, CD 3 track 5, and overall a good compilation, particularly for the price. And I was talking a little bit in my Thin Lizzy review I did a few days ago that it's very good for new fans or people that don't know too much about the band, because they can expand their knowledge. And that's exactly what I plan to do with this. Again, I know Dare very well. I love Being Boiled from Travelogue and Hard Times and Mirror Man and a few others, but I'm not that familiar with the later albums. And clearly, because there are 7 out of the 10 tracks from Romantic on this album, whoever put this track list together must like that album. And it's one I'm going to have a listen to, because they released a few albums after Romantic. They've released Credo in 2011. The names of the other ones escape me, but I think there's been 2 albums, one from 95, one from 2001. But a group that's very much still going, still touring, and I think this is very much targeted at the people who listened to them in the 80s and want to get a bit of a reminder what the Human League is about, but not just in the bog standard Human League greatest hits format. And a lot of people, I've seen a review of this that's gone, well, it's just another greatest hits album. I really disagree with that, because 41 tracks is not a greatest hits album. I think it's a really good entry into the Human League catalogue. Just trying to get that as zoomed as possible. Again, if you want to pause the video and have a look at the track list, you are more than welcome to. But in the Thin Lizzy video, I chatted at length about what should and shouldn't be on here, but I haven't really got the right to talk about that here necessarily, because I'm not as much a Human League fan as I am a Thin Lizzy fan. But all I will say is that I review this very highly. I rate it very highly. You know, good compilation, good sounding. I don't think there's that much difference, because the whole remastering tale and remix tale today, you know, things haven't moved that much to remaster things that well, and there's only so much quality a CD can have, so they sound good, the tracks do, definitely. And for somebody who doesn't have the albums, it's perfect. I've got Dare and Hysteria on vinyl LP, but nothing on CD. And I mean, for pretty much a collation of sort of maybe half the tracks from those 6 albums, £5 is a very reasonable price to pay, because you'd be looking at more £5 a CD for those 6 CDs, maybe more. So you'd be looking at £30 to £40 just to get those CDs. And this is a very much a good budget, a good well-rounded product, I'd say. And if you are a fan of your Human League, or just know a few tracks, you know, Don't You Want Me, Love Action, Mirror Man, Together in Electric Dreams, a few of those classics, this is well worth a buy. And that is my verdict on the Human League's new box set. And a little bit shorter than the Thin Lizzy one, but again, I haven't got the license to go too much in depth with this. But all I do know is that it's got the tracks on I like, and it's got some other tracks that are rated highly as well. So it must be good. But if you enjoyed that, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment your thoughts as well. Do you have the album? Do you plan to get it? Etc, etc. And also subscribe for regular album reviews, top 10s and other music musings. I might even do more Human League content in the future. I doubt there'll be too much of it, but I might do a Dare review. And just stick around. There might be a few things that surprise you, because I've got a very wide music knowledge. I've done a lot of 70s hard rock on the channel, but as I've said before, I do like my Human Leagues, Duran Duran, Heaven 17, OMD, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Spandau Ballet, I do quite like Spandau Ballet, Pet Shop Boys, obviously Queen, big group in the 80s as well. They weren't part of that new wave movement, but even so, they were certainly charting in the 80s. Trying to think of anybody else. Eurasia, they were later 80s, but I do like Eurasia. Wham, you know, they were early-ish 80s. But there's a lot of groups, isn't there? A lot of groups in the 80s that certainly I liked, and I'm sure you liked too. So if you enjoyed that, as I said, leave a like down below. And until the next time, as I've said, go and buy this. It's only £5. It might cost you a few pounds for delivery, potentially, if you're not going to the shops. There are 2 other compilations that have been released on this Essential log, if you like. You've got a Big Country one and a Level 42 one, and I might pick those up at some point, but absolutely no knowledge really of either band. I know my parents are fans of Level 42, and we've recently got their first 4 albums, I think, on vinyl. We picked them up very reasonably for £5 for the 4. Very reasonable. I'm going to have a listen through those and see if I like those or not, and that'll inform whether I get the Level 42 box set. But these 2 box sets here, for £10, even if you're not a fan really of either of them. Broaden your horizons. £10, you could lose it having a pint, you could lose it having a bet. If you've got the money, buy these two. Well worth the investment. Thank you for watching, and until the next time, I've been Toby from TIJ Music. Goodbye for now.